And the same when I end up in that situation, it'll be left to my next of kin to decide whether I live or die. And that's the right we give them when we make them next of kins.
No way.
That is a very hard decision to make, Maz. It's a very, very hard decision, and it's not something I'd wish anybody of today. You only know when it's their time to go, you'll know when it's the right thing or not. And I made the decision for my mum, along with my family as well. I made the decision, but my family were also there and could have said no if they didn't want it, and they didn't. They knew I was doing the right thing. My mum's last wishes was that she was going to die at home. She did not want to die in the hospital. And she did not want left on a ventilator breathing for her when she would never be able to come round for it. And after them trying to turn around and say my mum was in a coma and me proving she wasn't, there was no fucking way I was leaving her in the care of them. She fucking hated being in that hospital because they neglected her when she was in that fucking hospital.
But Martin, how do you know if you had just left her, then she would have come out her coma and then go back at home where she wanted to die?
Why?
Imagine, right? No, Martin, shut the fuck up. Imagine, right, when you died in that ambulance, when you died in the ambulance on the way to the hospital, imagine they phoned your dad and your dad just said, no, cut me off.
An ambulance can't do that. An ambulance can't let you die.
Martin, shut the fuck up.
Ambulance drivers and that cannot. Paramedics are not allowed to let you die. Paramedics have a duty of care to preserve life. They're different oaths for a fucking top. The ambulance drivers have got to keep you alive till we get to the hospital. It's under
your ma wanted to die at home. She came out of coma and then you literally turned her life over.
She was not in a coma. She was not in a coma. My mother was not in a coma.
Well, she came out of whatever she was in, spoke, and then you turned her life support off.
Yes, correct. And she didn't speak, she made noises to acknowledge that she wanted to go home and die.
So how are you meant to know that if you didn't leave her for 6 hours, she could have been well enough to actually go home and die in peace at home like you're saying that she wanted?
If you shut up long enough, I'll tell you. Because the doctors turned around and said they were flooding her with oxygen, which was to put her out of her misery. Which is what they do at the end of your life. They flood your oxygen and bring you up to 100%, which causes carbon monoxide and destroys what's left of your lungs. She was not recovering from it.
If that was the case, then you wouldn't have to give the go-ahead to turn her off.
Yes, I then did. I didn't give them any I didn't need to give them any go-ahead. I told them not to flood her with oxygen and let her go.
This is incredibly sus.
Because it destroys what's left of your lungs and you end up suffering longer. Because then you're dependent on the machine. I wanted my mum to die on her own steam, not under the steam of a machine.
But how do you know that's what she wanted?
Because I know what my mum's last fucking wishes were. And it was not to be on a respiratory machine for a start. My mum did not want kept alive on a machine.
She was already on a machine.
And she did not fucking want to die like that. She wanted to die with her own fucking steam in her own house. So I couldn't get her back home.
How do you know that wasn't her last push to get herself back out the hospital into the hospital and die peacefully?
I told her if she didn't wake up and can answer me, they were going to let her die in the hospital.
Oh, so it was all about you then?
What do you mean it was all about me? What the f*** do you mean apart? What are you talking about? What the f*** are you talking about?
That's what it sounds like.
Well, it doesn't care what it sounds like. Aye, and like my dad just said, all the other family was around her a day. And so what if I wasn't in there? I was the last person who opened her eyes to and spoke to, so few. And I went out for a fag and she died. And there's a reason for that. Because see when somebody passes away, they usually die when the person they love the most isn't there, because they didn't want to upset them. My mum waited until I wasn't there and died so I didn't have to watch it. Go and look at my reposts on TikTok. There's experts that have reposted the same thing, because I couldn't understand it myself, why my mum waited until I walked out the room. But I found somebody on TikTok that's an expert. She's an end-of-life carer, and she deals with end-of-life, and she turns around and explains it. The people that can die when you're not there.
You're saying you told them to turn the machines off and let her die, and then you walked out the room and let her die by herself?
No, she was with the full family, John. But my mum was the last person who opened her eyes and looked me straight in the eye, closed her eyes and died 5 minutes later. I was the last person my mum seen alive.
But you weren't even in the room.
She didn't need to be, I didn't need to be when she closed her eyes and never went died anyway. She had her eyes closed when she died. I left the room to go because I couldn't handle it. I left the room because I couldn't handle the fact she opened her eyes and stared at me and nobody else. And when she done that, I fucking started greeting and I walked to the room and she died 5 minutes later. The same way that my grandfather spent all day in his deathbed with all the family around him and he never answered anybody. And my dad walked in and said, "Oh, hello, father." And he opened his eyes, went, "Oh, hello, son. Bye, son." And he closed his eyes and died. The same thing happened with my mother. She opened her eyes, looked me in the face, and said her goodbyes to me, closed her eyes and died 5 minutes later. And when I came back in, I got my nieces to sit there and play all my mum's favourite tunes for the last 20 minutes of her life to make sure my mum was properly passed away before we left that room. I got my nieces to sit there and play Patsy Cline songs and Celine Dion songs and all the rest of it to make sure that my mum has passed away properly and went peacefully.
But you weren't even there for
15 minutes after my mum was clinically declared as dead. I sat there for another 20 or 30 minutes getting my nieces to play songs for her.
But you weren't there when she died.
I didn't need to be there. I was there when she died. As far as I'm concerned, my mum opened her eyes, looked at me, I walked out and she died 5 minutes later. I didn't need to be there. She never moved or made a sound anyway, she just died. So I didn't need to be there. The same thing happened with my grandmother and all. My grandmother, I sat for 2 hours watching my grand dying. And literally me and my dad went down for a fag. What happened? My family outside coming in to see my gran. I left my dad having a fag. I walked back up to the hospital to Ward 21, funnily enough. And before I even got in the lift, my granda came out the lift, turned me around and said, "There's no point in going back up, son, your gran's just died." My gran literally waited until we left the room and died in front of my granda. Because that's what happens. And my granddad done the same with my father. Waited until my dad arrived and died. Well, my mum done the same. She looked at me, I left, she died. Because when you're dying like that, you can shut yourself off. Go and look at my reposts, it'll show you. The women that I've reposted that does end of life care can turn in and tell you, explain it. Because see, when you're dying, you can shut yourself off, and sometimes people choose to die when the person they love the most isn't in the room. And you can fuck because nobody's trying to get sympathy. So fuck off with my life.
But if you care about that person, you should be there no matter how hard that is.
I was there for hours, John. I stepped out to get myself 5 minutes to clear my head because I was watching my mother dying. I am entitled to go out and get 5 minutes in peace to settle my head.
I'm just saying, if that was me and Mama.
Well, I am not you and you're not.
No matter how much I was talking for a fag or talking for an escape, I would sit there and I would feel that pain. I would feel that pain until they took their last breath.
I went out to get fresh air because I got upset and I did not want to be sitting greeting in front of my mother when she was dying. Because my mother opened her eyes and looked at me and closed her eyes and I started greeting and I didn't want to sit there greeting in front of my mum. So I walked out so my mum didn't hear me greeting.
Did you ever think
that... tell me that I did the wrong thing. I walked out so my mother did not hear me crying.
Did you ever consider that you actually wanted to see that, seeing how much you cared about her when she was passing away?
My mum does not want to see me dying, so don't you dare try and put words into my mother's
Did you ever consider how she felt?
Don't you dare try and think about what my mum thinks, because you will never know my mother ever. And my mother was not the kind of person that wants to see somebody greeting over her dying. So don't you even presume to you know what my mother was thinking, because you will never know my mother. So don't even sit there and try and presume that my mother wanted to see me greeting, thinking how much I loved her. Because that's the last thing my mother wanted to see was any of us fucking greeting. And when your time comes, John, to say goodbye to anybody you love, you'll fucking understand it. See, until you've been through it, don't you fucking comment on it. Because I've been fucking loads of my family pass away. I've been at loads of my family's fucking deathbeds. Have you? Well, you've obviously not learned anything from it then.
I wasn't there when somebody died, and I've literally felt an immense amount of guilt.
That's your problem. I did not feel any guilt for it, and I still don't.
Well, maybe you should, Martin.
Well, no, I shouldn't. Don't you tell me what I should feel guilty for or no.
No, you should feel guilty for not being there.
No, I shouldn't feel guilty for anything, John. So don't you try and put a guilt trip on my mother dying. No,
You should.
you can say what you want, but don't you dare tell me I should feel guilty over anything.
You chose to go for a fag. You chose to go for a fag over being there when she actually...
It was nothing to do with smoking. I went out to clear my head because I didn't want my mother seeing me crying.
No, Martin, you went for a fag.
No, I fucking did not. No, I did not. That's a lot of bullshit because I didn't have fags that fucking night. So you're fully shit.
You couldn't take the pain. You couldn't take the pain.
Don't fucking sit there and try and put words in my head.
You probably couldn't take the guult and the shame at everything you and your dad done to her. You couldn't look her in the eye when she was passing away. So you left. You let her die by herself.
You know, because I'm not listening to your shit. Stop painting your fantasy pictures and trying to paint fantasy pictures for viewers. Because I'm not interested in you painting your fantasy pictures.
I'm not painting nothing.
You're painting fuck fantasy pictures, trying to get people on your side through fuck fantasy pictures.
Nah.
Stop trying to tell me and my family how we can deal with grief.
Everybody's been on my side for this morning.
Don't fucking tell me or my family how we deal with grief and what we should and shouldn't do when people are fucking dying. That is pure fucking cheek. Don't fucking dare tell somebody how they should deal with grief or what they should do when somebody's fucking dying. You've no fucking right to compare me to you either, or what you would do.
I'm sorry, but it's the equivalent. See people that seem to have to go and get their dog put down. It's the equivalent of people that leave the room when their dog's getting put down. And see, when I think about Archie, I could never let him be in that room. We have getting an injection, being put down and nobody there. It's the exact same.